You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody here to our county commission meeting. It's 11:02. We'd like to get started, so we'll call the meeting to order. We have all three commissioners here and our county attorney and Mac and Lyman, so I think we're ready to go. I think everybody is online or getting approval to be online. Our first order of business is to invite anyone in the audience to give our invocation today. If there's anybody that wants to volunteer to do that, if not, somebody up here at this table will. Okay, I guess I'll do the invocation today. Our dear Father in heaven, as we come before thee as a county commission in San Juan County, Utah, we ask you to be with us this day, that we'll be able to conduct our business in a pleasing manner. We're mindful of our employees and all of those who serve in emergency services and in law enforcement. We ask you to bless and protect them, keep them safe, keep our citizens safe in this county. We're grateful for the state we live in. Bless our governor and those who work with him, that they'll take care of business for the state and the people of the state. We're mindful of our president, President Biden. We ask you to bless him, that he will be have good decision-making ability. We're mindful of the people in Ukraine. We ask you to protect them and keep them safe, help them that they might preserve their freedoms. We're grateful for the freedoms that we have in this country. We're grateful to be county commissioners. Bless us that we'll have good decision-making ability. We're grateful for the moisture that's come to our land and that which is coming, and we ask you to bless us, and we're grateful for this moisture and the good that it will do in our county. Bless us, we'll conduct business in a pleasing manner this day. We pray in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, if everybody will rise, and we'll have Sylvia lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is public comment. I'll turn that time over to our administrator, Mac McDonald. He can give you the rules.
Okay, we didn't have a sign-up sheet today. We'll make sure we get that next commission meeting. But basically, each individual wishing to make a public comment can make a public comment up to 3 minutes apiece. Please keep it at that 3 minutes. Also, be mindful of your public comments. This isn't a time to deliberate with the commissioners. This is a time for the commissioners to hear the public and hear from the public themselves. And so don't anticipate that there will be a discussion to be had from that. With that, also keep your comments kind and courteous as well as you give them. For those in the audience, we'll take the audience members first and then continue online if there's any individuals online. If you are online and want to make a public comment, you can do so by raising your hand. There is a raise your hand feature on Zoom. If you right click on your name, you should be able to find where to raise your hand there, and then we will acknowledge you at that time. Or if not, if you're unable to find that feature, then we will unmute or ask you to unmute yourself at that time. But we'll take the audience here, audience first. If there's any individuals that want to make a public comment, go ahead and raise your hand. I'm not seeing any hands raised here. Let me make sure I admit everybody here to the meeting. Is there anyone online wishing? I don't see any hands raised. Is there anyone online wishing to make a public comment? If so, you can unmute yourself. I'm not seeing anyone unmute themselves. Commissioners, that it looks like to be your public comment period for today.
Okay, that's one of the best public comment periods we've ever had. Appreciate all who participated. Next on our agenda is our consent items. Mac, would you give us those 3 consent items and we can approve them?
So what we're looking at today, under the consent agenda, you've got the approval of the February 7th, 2023. Let me pop this up so members in the audience can also see it. So you got the approval of the February 7th, 2023 commission work meeting minutes. You've got the approval of the check registers for February 2nd through February 16th, 2023. Item number 3, you have an approval of $66,931.11 in purchases, the small purchases. We've got $3,500 for the Leadership Academy for 2 EMS employees to attend that training. We had to pay for that up front. You have $9,675 for the replacement of the pressure washer for the road department that went out. You have $2,400 for an information systems maintenance package. This is what we approved during the budget opening last commission meeting. And then $51,356.11 for the purchase of the Dell servers. We use the Dell is on a state contract there, so that's why you see, even it may not appear as a small purchase because it is on a state contract. Then we use the small purchase PO system for that purchase there. And so that, commissioners, are your items today for your consent agenda.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the February 7th commission meeting work meeting minutes?
I motion.
Okay, motion by Sylvia,
Commissioner, I'll second that motion.
second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I also, so that 3 in favor and 0 opposed. Next, we have the approval of the check register for February 2nd through February 16th. Do I have a motion to approve the check register?
I motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Sylvia to approve,
I'll second the motion.
second by Jamie. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Item number 3 is approval of small purchases, even though some of them are bigger than small. Do we have a motion to approve those?
Commissioner, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I also. That passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Next on our agenda is Spanish Valley updates by Jerry McNeely. So Jerry, if you'll come up to the microphone and introduce yourself, especially to the 2 commissioners, we'll give you about 3 minutes.
It's ready to go.
That's too bad. Okay, this is about the 5th time I've been told only to speak for 3 minutes, so I'm only going to speak for 3 minutes.
Be
Okay,
sure
first
you
of all,
introduce yourself to these
I'm
guys.
getting ready to. My name's Jerry McNeely. I lived in, let's call it Grand Valley, for going on 81 years. And that's why I do what I do for San Juan County, because I've been there so long. I was also on the Grand County Council for 8 years. Bruce and I had to work together on some items that was really close to the border. And after you're only allowed 8 years in Grand County. After I got through with that, Bruce and the group asked me if I would go to work for them and still help them do, because I know the people, I know the valley, and remember, 75% of the LaSalle Mountains is in San Juan County, and most of San Juan County goes this way, LaSalle goes that way, so we have lots of conflicts. I know the LaSalle's backwards and forwards, and that why I bring that up is that's because what we're doing right now is snow removal, and I take all phone messages, so my ears are burning pretty much right now on that basis. Okay, to start with, I meet with state lands every week I meet with BLM every week. I meet with Forest Service every week. And this went really good till the pandemic. And then everybody closed their doors, and so it became phone calls and leaving messages. I used to get messages from BLM in the newspaper box that stood outside the door. They'd write what they wanted, and I'd go to the newspaper and get my envelope out. But now it's starting to break a little bit, so we're getting a little more information. Things are working a little better, a little smoother, but as you know, things aren't going really smooth in the government part of it anyway. So I also work with TJ, your road supervisor. I work with Nick, the planner. Nick and I work together a lot. I work with Mac, and Bruce is more or less my boss because that's his area. And then he converses with you, and I hope it all comes out smooth and correct. And locally, the one guy I really work with a lot is Lloyd Wilson, who is on the planning and zoning board here, but he also does a lot down in that area of northern San Juan County. He jumped right in and took over the water and sewers part of it. He's a hell of a guy. We get good information from him, and anytime I got some problems, I'll drop in and get him. And he's been done a really good job on your planning and zoning board, working with them for that area. Right now, I'm working with TJ a lot on snow removal, and we can't get in there with our road graders anymore due to the fact that the snow's so deep. And if we could get in, it fills back up as fast as we can get back out. So the problem comes from we cannot and are not grading the roads, except right there at the highway where it turns off at 2 Mile. Those of you who are familiar with it, there's a parking area, and we plow that and keep it clean so they can park. It's 7 miles to the nearest cabin on the LaSalle Mountains. And what they're hitting me with right now is, hey, these are second homes to us. We want to get to them. And then I have to say, well, it goes like this. Citizens first, cattlemen second. And I said, that's the way it is. There ain't nothing we can do about it. So then they come back, well, how about let's groom it? Well, we don't have the grooming apparatuses to groom that whole trail. That would be up to the Forest Service. So I've contacted the Forest Service and asked how they felt about it. So far, I haven't got a reply from them. So we're working on that. But what I'm getting at is the people with the cabins are saying they're second homes. They pay big taxes, and so they want the snow removed, period. But we cannot do it. So then I talked to them again, and like Jim Nyland, ex-sheriff of Moab, he is 7 miles from the parking lane where he can park to where his cabin is. And he has now made up his mind that it's kind of fun to snowmobile. So he says, just leave the damn things alone, period. And that's his exact words. I also have a little meeting at the Branding Iron. The lady at the Branding Iron also she bought the old elk farm out here just north of town. And so I talked to her, but I have a little meeting there where people come if they want to. And we discuss stuff about anything political. Last time I think I had six or seven people from San Juan. The rest were from Grand County. The ones from Grand County also are some of the second home people that I have to discuss this with and get it. And basically, that's everything is so cold in Moab as far as Moabites are concerned. And until I came up here, I thought I was really crying the blues because it was so cold. But I think I'll take Moab area instead of Monticello and Blanding, if you don't mind. I'd prefer that. Right now, what we're doing is we're still hooking up water and sewer. That's still going on. And we got some subdivisions and stuff that's going on, but it's so cold they've kind of slowed down. So mostly I've been working with is the road department with TJ. So as of right now, but what's going to happen is when the runoff comes, we're going to go into what we did last year from where the fire was. All that starts flooding, plugs up all the Packrick drainage. So all we do is go back and forth with Packrick Ranch and Sunny Acres, keeping it clean, keeping it shut when it should be shut, and vice versa. So that's going to start up as soon as the melt off starts. And we might add also that at Jim Nyland's cabin, which is right at Dark Canyon Lake, which is 7 miles from the main loop down there by LaSalle. He has 6.5 to 7 feet of snow right there. And so Geyser would have a little bit more. So there's going to be a lot of, if it comes down slow, we're in good shape. If it comes down fast, we got lots of problems, especially in those areas that I just brought up. The only other thing I'd like to talk about, I don't feel that I need to come to these meetings every single time, due to the fact that before I did come to the meetings all the time, and then for different facts, I went by phone for the next 3 or 4 years, and it seemed to work pretty good. But unless you want me to come or you have a problem, tell Mac. Mac calls me, and I'll come up. If that's all right, you guys can hash that out. I'm not making an offer to you. I'm suggesting it. But so far I haven't gone anywhere suggesting it. But
He's afraid to drive in the snow.
I'm not afraid. I just told Bruce if it's snowing, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, then,
Moabites don't drive in snow.
And he
very
doesn't fly in an airplane either.
well. And I will not fly in an airplane. And another thing you need to know before it comes out is I don't do computers. Where I worked before I retired, everything was computers. We worked our records. I worked for the USGS with water resources. We had to work our records on our streams with computers. So for 25 to 30 years, all I did was computers. So when I retired, I said, no computers. And that's the first thing I told Bruce, that no computers. Eyeball to eyeball, phone to phone, or vice versa.
And his flip phone broke down last year. So now he's trying to learn how to run an
And
iPhone.
I got a new phone, and I'm just talking to Natalie about it. I call it the 30-pound brick. It's I wanted a fold phone because that's what I had. Well, she got me the 30-pound brick, which is about 5 times as big as my other fold, and it weighs about 30 pounds.
hard on the wrist, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's terrible. So anyway,
Okay, these commissioners want to meet you and want to kind of get an idea of what you do. And so that's why we asked you to come today.
okay.
Thank you, and I appreciate getting to know you more since the last
Yeah.
time. I learned a lot about you, and I appreciate. And soon the legislature is over. I'm gonna go into his territory, and I'm gonna come to the Branding Iron.
Yeah, and I suggested to Matt that you all come down. We'll have lunch at the Branding Iron.
Yeah.
She also is a San Juanite because she's from New York,
Uh-huh.
but she also because they come out for the wide open spaces.
Yeah.
I will be honest with you. I tried to talk her out of it. I'm going to say, you're not going to like the wind. You're not going to like the snow. And guess what? First year was okay. This year, not okay.
Now they have the snow.
And how I know all this is because my daughter works for her at this restaurant. So when she can't make it, my daughter is put in charge. So I get hear all about it all the time. So
Thank you so much.
and I thank you for all the trouble you went in hashing it out what you're going to do with me. And another thing, Ben's gas is way up there. Driving back and forth, Ben's I buy my own gas. This doesn't add up to me.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'd rather come when you guys really want me or have something you really need to know about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Mac will know, Nick will know, or TJ, So,
Jerry's available at the Branding Iron on Wednesdays at lunchtime.
Yeah.
and I stay till about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Okay, I think Jamie has a comment, Jerry.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. McNeely.
How are you doing?
Pleasure to meet you. I kind of skeptical about that claim that you know the LaSalle Mountains backwards and forwards until you show me the best fishing hole up that area.
Anytime you want to come, but I'm going to tell you right now, the best fishing hole is Ken's Lake. And that is no lie. We catch some monster fish out of Ken's Lake. And it's very easy to get to.
Now everybody in the county knows they'll be there.
Yeah. So anytime you're ready, you just give me a holler.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
I know some good people out that way. William and Tara Long and her family.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was Cherokee.
Yeah.
Good family.
I know
Okay.
some of them, but see what you look at it this way. I lived in Moab all my life. So there was a whole bunch of Moabites that moved into San Juan. And so when I was on the county council, this is what started it all. When I was on the county council, people come and wanted water and sewer when they were buying lots. Well, because of the way the water setup was, the Grand County Water Service, which I'm on that board, because of the way the taxing goes, could not do that. Which I didn't understand that part. I just raised heck because they wouldn't do it. But then I found out, no, you just can't do it that way. And I found that out when we started our water and sewer, how all that works. So there's a reason why they couldn't. But that's what brought up the water and sewer. I'm probably the one that brought up the water and sewer when I got involved with San Juan County. And one reason why because of Bruce. When we worked together, we did really good. I had to talk to Senator Hatch, which I was a good friend of his after my council days, and Senator Dimitrich, because we had to move mailboxes. We had to do everything to get Sunny Acres going, and that's what Bruce and I was working on when I had to leave. And so then and another reason, Moab is a 7-man commission now. I wanted to know what it was like to work with 3-man commission. And as you know, we tried to go for a 3-man commission here not too long ago, but we failed. So we failed because I'm no longer involved in that part of it. So I'd like to say that myself. I know
Okay.
I took longer than 3 minutes, Bruce. I apologize.
That's the longest 3 minutes I've ever seen.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Thanks for the report, Jerry.
I appreciate you.
I'll come.
Okay, next we have Elaine. Consider approval of the ownership transfer, the billboard. Jerry, by the way, Elaine's from New York as well.
What?
She's from New York as well.
Oh,
Still
yeah?
live there.
Have you met Karen? You'll have to, I'll have Karen come and meet you then.
Cool. Well, thank you,
Karen lived in New
commissioners.
York, What do you need, 5 years?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
and then like our area, and
Came out and purchased
out.
branding iron.
they ended up buying a restaurant and they hate it. So,
Oh, we'll have to turn her opinion around. Well, thank you, commissioners, for letting me put these items on the agenda. And the first one is for a billboard that we, I guess, are gifted from Black Oil Company, and Jay Burton owned the billboard, and it's on 24 when you get to Hanksville. And I went out there to see the billboard, and once we take full ownership, we'll have the vinyls replaced, and we're going to put Monument Valley and House on Fire. And the pictures look spectacular with an arrow saying 95. So it'll be the first billboard I believe we will have in San Juan for San Juan County. So I'm excited, even though it's in Wayne County. Who cares? So what we have to do is I'm working with the state I didn't realize how complicated it was to transfer a billboard, to jump through all the hoops. But this is an ownership transfer, which I've updated, but will have to be signed and notarized by Jay Burton and our chair, Commissioner Adams. So and I'm working actually on getting the easement confirmed so that we'll be able to access the billboard without issues because it is on private property. And the owner, we also have a lease agreement that I believe should be in this packet. And the lease agreement is for annual payment for us to rent that space is $1,000 a year, which is a pretty good price, having had experience with other billboards for Grand County. So the lease of the billboard and the statement that we're going to transfer the ownership are two things that will need to be completed. And I'm thrilled that this is the first billboard that we're going to have for us in another county, telling them to reasons to come to San Juan.
Can you remember the size of that billboard? I totally forgot. Should have had that on there. It's a smaller billboard.
It's 8 by 20.
Okay.
Something like that.
So when you go down the freeway and you're thinking massive billboards, it's not that. But the prime location in
it's a great
Hanksville is
location.
right at the intersection where the tourists can choose to either go to Goblin Valley.
They'll be passing Goblin Valley down 24, and when they get to the corner, they can go to Capitol Reef to the right,
Yes.
or come to San Juan.
And so
County
we're
on
trying
the
to get
left.
them instead of Capitol Reef,
Yes.
come to us.
Yes.
And so this billboard's kind of in one of those.
And we
prominent
didn't
spots.
put
And so-
mileage. We're not putting mileage on the billboards because it is a little bit of a distance. So we just want them to see the landscapes of what is down if they come down 95. So,
Yes.
and I'll send you the pictures of the billboard. And we're hoping once this all gets completed and the state process is completed, then we'll have the vinyl design done and they'll put it up. And the billboard's in pretty good shape considering it's about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled that Mr. Burton reached out to us to turn over the billboard. And again, the rent is very reasonable for, and I met with the landowners representatives. So I feel good about the entire taking this ownership over of the billboard.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the transfer and agreement of this billboard?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Jamie makes the motion.
I'll second.
Sylvia seconds. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Okay, Elaine, number 6.
Thank you. I am working with Grand County Active Trails and Transportation, Brendan Cameron out of Grand County, who is the general manager at Western Spirit Cycling, and I believe is online, and Carrie Nelson, who's from the BLM. She's the outdoor recreation planner for the BLM Moab field office. And our committee has been working for several months to draft this this plan of the Mud Springs Trail, which will now be known as the Spanish Hills Trail. And I was very excited to see what Elise had proposed, and I hope I live long enough to see Spanish Valley come to fruition.
The nursing home.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be in the nursing home, right? Knitting without needles. And so this trail is going to be in 3 phases. And to me, it will really set the tone for for San Juan County to start this major trail, mountain bike trail or multi-use trail in northern Spanish Valley, because my plan is that we will move through San Juan County with more trails to help our visitors enjoy more and stay longer when they're here. This trail, and I have to say that, and Brendan, I know he was online. can't see if he's there, but
No, I'm
we've had
here.
a lot of support from the community. And I know Brendan lives in Spanish Valley, and Carrie from the BLM, great support in helping, and Grand County Active Trails and Transportation, Maddie, and Tyson Swayze, and have been such a tremendous help in going through this process. So it's a little bit complicated, but what it is they will, Active Trails and Transportation will manage the trail and the maintenance of the trail, and then we, San Juan County, will reimburse Grand County Active Trails and Transportation. But I really believe that this, and this will be adjacent to everything that is being planned in the Spanish Valley community with Sitla. So this will be such an addition and an amenity to that project that is being built. So people will be able to use it now, but then as we think about how the community is going to be developed, it will be an incredible amenity, and eventually connect to the LaSalle Loop, and then eventually connect to the Spanish Valley Drive, so that people could ride their bikes or whatever they're riding all the way from the Spanish Hills Trail all the way down into Moab. It'll also help alleviate some of the stress that's northern Grand County, the bar where the Bar M is. We've discussed that, so I think it's going to benefit everyone. And Brendan, he's online. I don't know if you want to pipe in for a minute.
Yeah. Can you all hear me?
You bet.
One thing I will say, and Elaine did say Grand County, and that's where our business is located. But I live in San Juan County and love it. We live off of Mount Peel. And so this has been just a personal project for me, and I'm so proud to know that I can bring folks and tell everyone all about trails in San Juan County rather than Grand County. I'm not sure, and thank you, Commissioner, for listening to us here, but I'm not sure how well you're aware of Bentonville, Arkansas, which, by the way, is the middle of nowhere. But I got to chat with one of the CEOs or one of the VPs of Walmart. And, when we're potentially thinking about building, we're really excited about the improvement and the building of what's going to happen in San Juan County, Spanish Valley, San Juan County North. But it's also a huge recruitment tool as well to have amazing trails like this. Mm-hmm. And so really, Elaine said it's a win-win, but really that it's a win-win or it's a win for San Juan County. Because folks will come here. Elaine mentioned, or in the letter mentioned, NICA, which is the High School Mountain Bike Association, is really interested in this. And this, if you've been to St. George, when there's a NICA race that happens in St. George, every hotel and every vacation rental fills as soon as they announce it. So it's some really great economic opportunities for sure in having this trail here. So we really appreciate your support and consideration.
Yeah, there are 77 teams in Utah of mountain high school cycling, and we don't have one in San Juan County. This is the time for us to be able to reach out to the school-age children and start getting them interested in mountain biking, having mountain bike clinics. The goal is that we'll have a trails committee. So this is the first step for us to really get engaged in building a trail system. And this is putting a stake in the ground for this. And I know that NICA, we're following when this trail's developed, and it'll be machine built and hand built. And I'm, certainly not a builder, but I trust that the trail people, they know what they're doing. But it's really going to be an incredible area for us. So anyway, we're following the NICA guidelines so that we will be able to have these events come into our county. And I did a little bit of analysis on our overnight rentals that based on 60% of the current occupancy, we've got about, let's see here, how many overnight rentals? 66 businesses that are licensed in northern Spanish Valley for overnight rentals. And the average night stay is about $309.74. So if we increase the current occupancy, which I estimated to be about 60%, I don't have the actual numbers because you really can't get those at the moment. But if we increase our occupancy to 70%, we would yield about $219,219 in TRT, or an increase of $31,317 for the first year that this trail would be in place. So between the overnight rental increase in occupancy and the extra TRT we're collecting and the RV spots that we have out in Spanish Valley, there are 29 spots. Estimated night is about $100. So we would be able to produce the amount of TRT, extra TRT needed to cover the maintenance that it would take annually, which is about $22,000 to $24,000 a year. So, I was trying to calculate if we have more people staying out there in those overnight rentals, because we don't have a hotel yet or any lodging other than that. Still, that's going to help offset the costs. And the cost to maintain the trails would not come out of the general fund budget, and would not, unless Mac thinks we could squeeze something out. It will come out of of our portion of the TRT funds from our office. That's how strongly I feel about the creation of this trail.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve it.
And this is to approve a letter of support for the trail. We have a motion by Sylvia,
I'll second that.
second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in
Good
favor?
job. I look at those numbers and all the stuff you put together.
We're also applying for a grant through the Utah Outdoor Recreation. So we're applying for actually 2 grants, and I'm working with the BLM and Moab, Grand County Active Trails and Transportation. So the initial cost of this, we'll have to put our 20% in, but I believe also that'll be covered over a 2-year period out of the TRT, and we'll hopefully be able to receive the grant money to support this trail.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Okay, thanks,
Thank
Elaine.
you. Thank you very
Good
much
work.
for your support.
Okay, Nick Sandberg next.
Good morning. This item concerns a proposed change in regulations that BIA is proposing to existing regulations which allow a tribe or a tribal member to transfer fee land that they have to trust land. Now, the county doesn't have any objection to either the tribe or an individual exercising that right, but we would have an objection, well, maybe not an objection, but a concern as to what that would do to the tax base, loss of tax base. And I might add, the comment period on this proposal ends March the 1st. And in San Juan County, we have approximately 1,700 acres of tribally owned lands that could be subject to this. And we really don't know how many individual tribal member ownership lands could be affected by this. So, of course, this loss of revenue could impact our ability to provide government services to these lands, which we are currently providing services for, whether that's schools, libraries, fire, EMT, law enforcement, etc. The issue here that we would like to highlight is that the existing regulations allow for no compensation to the county or local governments for that loss in tax base, tax revenue. So we've been working with Duchesne County, and they've experienced some of these transfers in the past. And they have come up with 2 options that we could add as comments to these proposed regulations. And these options would include an option to require BIA to make payment in lieu of taxes payments, which they aren't required to do so now. And of course, you're probably familiar, BLM and the Forest Service do make PILT payments for the lands that they have. The other option, if that's not feasible, would be a requirement that the tribe and the local government work out an agreement for the funding of these continued government services on the land. And this agreement would have to be completed before the transfer would actually take place. So the comment letter, and basically I think these remedies would make sense for San Juan County if we're ever in that position where this comes about. So the comment letter before you proposes these two changes to the regulations, as well as showing our support to Duchesne County in their comments, which are very similar on these proposed regs. So the letter is before you for your consideration, and I'd recommend that we sign it. But
Okay, I got a call from Uinta County Commission a couple of weeks ago asking us if we would please support their efforts in what Nick has described. Then Nick and I got wondering how many lands possibly could be affected in San Juan County, and so his letter is a result of those two things, and so that letter would help support Duchesne. I'm not sure it's a big deal in San Juan County. I don't think.
So you think in the two options that you mentioned, that had to be passed by us to decide which one, or basically we just worry about the letter right now?
I'm sorry, but I
But
didn't.
like you mentioned, if this happened, we had two choices. So that we can recoup the taxes we'll be losing if the land transfer. So I was just wondering, is that something that we need to decide now, or we just supporting Duchesne and letters?
Right, I'm not sure if I'm hearing or understanding all of it, but right now we have no options. If the tribe or an individual wants to convert to
Okay.
trust, San Juan County is out of luck for
Okay.
the tax
Okay,
base
that's-
lost.
Okay, that's
And
what
the letter outlines two options that would remedy that for the counties and local governments if, BIA is willing to consider those and change the
sometimes,
regulations.
yeah.
So
Just-
BIA is asking for comments on this.
BIA has proposed the changes, it's through the
Proposed
Federal
the
Register
change.
notice, so yeah, BIA is the one
We're
we
just
comment to.
commenting
Okay.
Yes.
right now on the BIA
Okay.
request to change the rule. So do I have a motion to approve the letter? Jamie?
I had comments, but I know we need a motion, right?
Yeah, we need motions.
I'll make that motion. and
Okay,
have some
we have a
comments.
second.
I'll second.
Okay, now we'll entertain comments, Jamie.
So I'm not familiar with this issue, commissioners, and I'd like to learn more. So I need support and getting this information because I wasn't aware BIA was proposing a rule, and that's important to me. I know that being an enrolled member of the Navajo tribe, I know the tribe has its own interests, and there's other history there that I'm not going to bring here, but it's also important that we make good decisions where we know what decisions are going to, how our decisions are going to impact others.
Would
And
you
I
like to,
know-
would you like to make a substitute motion to table the item until you get more information on it?
I'd like to, yes. And bringing this back next month would be no problem at all. I think
Okay.
it's as representatives of the southern part,
Yep,
that's important because we want to be knowledgeable in providing that educational piece to our constituents back home, so that it doesn't look like we're making a decision that benefits something else, right?
So what you could do, Jamie and Sylvia, is maybe in the meantime, before our next commission meeting, maybe you get with Nick
Okay.
and he can give you more details on exactly what's being proposed, because the proposal is being made by BIA
Right.
to allow those transfers to happen. All Nick's letter would say is if those transfers do happen from fee lands to trust lands, then we get no revenue off of them to provide the services.
Right.
And so that's the county's concern. And if you don't agree with that, then we won't send the letter. But we could bring it back at our next commission meeting, and you might be able to get a little better understanding both from the tribe and from Nick's, the
Right.
information Nick's got.
But what I do find in this letter as highlighting a piece that highlights this is if the other departments are paying the, what is that? The payment in lieu of taxes, and if BIA is the only one that's not, that's interesting, because then that's another source for the county.
Right.
I
Right.
can see that.
Yep.
And so I'm not objecting. I'm rather saying let's process this information. Let's interpret this information to our constituents.
I think that's an appropriate request. Yeah.
If I may add a little more clarification, the regulations are in existence today. And if the transfer was to be made, it would happen. The proposed changes to the regulations are, in BIA's words, to make the process to do that more efficient, simpler, and less expensive to the individual or the tribe. So the regulation is there. The transfer could happen today, and San Juan County would just lose revenue. What this letter proposes is a change, an additional change to those regulations to allow the counties and local governments to be compensated to some degree to fund those government services that the county would still provide even after such a transfer would be made.
And those monies could come actually from the BIA rather than Navajo Nation or the Ute tribe or something like that.
That would
right?
be my understanding. Now, I don't know all the nuts and bolts of the mechanics of that, but yeah.
It would come directly from the federal government.
I think Westwater is a good case, a good scenario to apply this to. Is right now Westwater is one of those fee lands that the Navajo Nation owns.
Right.
In that, county maintains the roads within, and then all of a sudden, if you were to switch that, if the reservation takes that land in itself, then what happens to the roads? Is the county supposed to still maintain those roads of Westwater? And does the Navajo Nation now compensate for that maintenance? I think that's kind of where I see the critical nature of it.
Yeah, I can see that. I do know that back home, a lot of folks are upset at BIA anyways because they are failing, and this would only be another reason to say, yeah, let's make them do this.
Yeah.
But thank you, commissioners. I'll go ahead and
You
make
make
that
that-
substitute motion.
Make
to-
the substitute motion. Do you?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. So that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. So Nick, if you'll bring that back to our next commission meeting.
Sure.
After having some more discussion
Thank you.
allow
We'll
you
do that.
to. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the opioid settlement. Mac, you've got that one.
Okay. This one on here, I provided kind of a summary, and I'll let you read that on your own of where we've been at with the opioid settlement in general. And so I made sure that it was detailed enough that it kind of gave the new commissioners a little background into the first settlement. This is one of the second. This will be actually the second of multiple potential settlement agreements that'll come across us. This one here involves Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens, kind of as a conglomerate of entities. this agreement that you have here just allows our attorney that's overseeing all of the settlements, along with the state and all of the other counties throughout the state, allows them to go back and participate for the settlement. So it doesn't give us an amount, how much they're going to settle on yet. It's just opens up that agreement and participation so that they can begin negotiating that settlement for this. In the previous settlement agreement that we had, there was around 288, just over 288. You see that amount right there that the county will receive in payments up until 2038. Now, originally, just as it highlights in here, the county, along with multiple other counties throughout the state, kind of felt that by settling, we're really not doing due justice to the amount of damages that the pharmaceutical companies and the marketing of, the whether it's pain relievers or whatever the case is, they just kind of handed it out like candy. Because of that kind of curtailed into these heavier drugs and then became more of a substance abuse. And, we had it estimated with the attorneys that we worked with and along with the county attorneys at the time that there were about $38 million in damages in all that we could really kind of estimate and demonstrate that there's more damages than what we're settling on. That $288,000 over 2038, that doesn't really touch the amount of damages that this has caused our county. But at the time, as we were watching, in San Juan County and Grand County were kind of the only counties that really stepped back and say, we want to continue with this lawsuit. All the other counties throughout the state kind of agreed that they were going to go ahead and settle. We felt that, that $38 million in damages was a little bit more important for our citizens than not. But at the same time, we were watching the courts and some of these other states and counties settle. We had recognized that there was one state or one county that wasn't successful at the appeal. And so that kind of scared us. And we were like, hey, okay, we'll jump on board with all the other states. And because of that, the states and the other counties throughout the state as well were able to get a little bit more out of the settlement. But at that time, that was when we decided, maybe it is best to settle instead of try our hand at demonstrating why we believe that $38 million was a little bit more important. And so we have since then, we've agreed to that first settlement, which was, it's called the Janssen settlement, but it includes the AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal, McKesson, and Janssen as well. And so this is kind of that second part. My understanding, there's about 5 different settlements that they're working on now on there, but we wanted to make sure that we sign this participation agreement so they can continue to work forward on trying to get us an additional funds from these other companies that have agreed to settle with states throughout the nation.
Okay, so we basically have attorneys working on our behalf statewide, all the counties, to help settle this. So we need to approve this particular settlement with these groups today. So do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Motion by Sylvia,
I'll second that.
second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 9, do we have Scott Burton here, or is Elise going to handle it?
So we can turn the time over. Let me pull up
Well-
this.
We've been through this already in our work session,
We have
so we could probably just,
do a presentation real fast by
Elise, you want
Elise.
to do we want you to do 3 minutes, but not the 3 minutes that Jerry
So
does.
let me give you the summary real fast on here. So the South Valley Community Structure Plan provides additional details to the draft version
Right.
submitted and reviewed with the Planning Commission zone plan, which was approved back in December 2021. We've kind of been waiting in the wings to bring this forward, but we did have public hearings held with the Planning Commission on November 10th, 2022. And then this is the next step. The Planning Commission made a recommendation of approval at the December 8th, 2022 PC meeting. So this is next on the list, is bring it before the commission.
So thank you for your time earlier today going through what the community structure plan is and the master plan. I would request your approval of the community structure plan with the condition that there be and somebody else can help me on the right words here, but that there be an appropriate, an acceptable development agreement approved. But-
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the structure agreement plan?
I'll make that motion with the conditions
Okay,
of acceptable development.
good.
And I'll second.
So a motion by Jamie, a second by Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that's 3 in favor and 0 opposed.
Is that 3 minutes? A short 3 minutes?
No, that's the best 3 minutes I've ever had.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. Consideration and approval of an amendment number 1 to the agreement for ALJ services. That was Lynn Cresswell that presented to us in our work meeting. Do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Sylvia makes a motion.
I'll second.
Jamie seconds. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 11, consideration and approval of appointment of Kelly, Mike Green, Heather Lyman, and Marlene Huckabee to the San Juan County Library Board for a 4-year term. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Jamie makes a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 12, consideration and approval of reappointment of Janet Ross, Warren Peterson, Scott Johnson to the Eastland Special Service District for a 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sylvia,
I'll second.
second by Jamie. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 13, consideration and approval of appointment of Sylvia Zoni to the Public Health Board representing Montezuma Creek, Aneth area for a 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Commissioner.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 14, consideration and approval of reappointments of Stephen Hyatt and Lynn Stevens to the Blanding Cemetery Special Service District for an additional 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sylvia,
I'll second.
second by Jamie. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Consideration, number 15, consideration and approval of reappointments of George Matoka, Kedrick Curtis, Nathan Langston, and Terry Ecker to the San Juan County Water Conservancy District for an additional 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jamie.
I'll second.
Sylvia seconds the motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 16, consideration and approval of the reappointments of Tanya Lowry, Bernie Christensen to the Monticello Cemetery District for a 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 17, consideration and approval of appointment of Kirk Crowley to the San Juan County Transportation Special Service District for a 4-year term. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. No messing around, man.
We tried to be this dorm to Salt Lake, so that's reason
Okay, I just want to make the other 2 commissioners aware. I got a call from NACO, They have a NACO leadership program, and they had spots for San Juan County and one other county where we could get scholarships, $1,000 scholarships. And I'd recommend both of you sign up for that leadership academy. It takes a few months. I think it's all online, but I wanted to make you aware of that. I'll give you the phone number to call of the lady. Now we need to go into executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll motion.
Jamie motions.
Second.
Sylvia seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We're now